Hello, and welcome to a midweek update from the Markets Middleman. Today is Wednesday, January 2021, and I see a huge change in market structure from the forecast that I've done on the weekend. And for this sake, I would like to make a quick update for today, anticipating what today could hold for us from setups, especially on EU and GU. But before I move forward, I just want to note the displacement on the DXY on the daily time frame closing well below this breaker block over here with a sharp momentum to the downside. So we couldn't see something like accumulation, manipulation. No, instead we saw like a fast distribution as if this was the accumulation, last manipulation to the upside, sweeping this buy side and then displacing lower. So I'm shifting my bias from being bullish during last few weeks to being bearish on the DXY, testing previous daily low, those two relative equal sell sides, and this sell side eventually. But for today, this is my first target, and this is my near or short term targets going into the rest of the week. So on the DXY, there's first this 12-hour breaker, okay, just before the daily in a bit. So this was the last low or the last break of structure that the market did before breaking to the upside. So this was the last significant low that the market created. So I have the 12-hour breaker block as well as a 2-hour fair value gap aligning inside of this 12-hour breaker. So we see this 2-hour fair value gap aligning with the breaker. So we can view this as a full displacement to the downside, not reaching the sell side yet. Okay, those two sell sides over here. There's still potential to the downside. Yes. Is there a clear bias? Yes, from the daily confirmed. Is there a clear area of interest to short from? Yes. So when those three objectives are met together, I have a green light to place my order. So this is the area that I'm watching a continuation for DXY from. So converting this on the euro, we see that on the euro, price didn't respected this fair value gap as bearish, but it did well respected it as an inverse fair value gap. And instead, I will show you how it reacted on it on the hourly time frame. So from Monday, market closed well above this bearish fair value gap. For the first time, inverting a bearish fair value gap like this. So this was really a significant signal that price is gonna push higher into this buy side liquidity over here. I will just show you one thing what happened on the 2-hour time frame. You see that market created a high, okay, and then during Monday displaced above this high. Monday closed over here, signaling that we're definitely closing above the bearish fair value gap, and then offering me 2-hour breaker block. So this was my point of interest going into Tuesday as an anticipation of continuation to the upside after a clear displacement on the 2-hour time frame. But price took the 1-hour breaker, okay? So within the inverse on the daily fair value gap, there was this 1-hour breaker block, which acted to the tick, and then price rallied higher. So I haven't taken any trade for this week, and I'm still on the sidelines just for today. However, what's my target going into today, Thursday, and Friday? So we see clearly price reaching a significant sell side or a liquidity and then displacing higher. So this was the last breaker block on the daily, and then we see a significant close above this breaker. So market on the daily time frame is screaming bullish. Notice how yesterday closed way higher than the high of Monday. So my eyes or my target are at yesterday's high, and my eyes are on this level over here on the daily time frame. What does this level represent? It represents a previous important fair value gap that price respected. However, it manipulated a little bit. So I need to align something from the hourly time frame around this level so that I make sure that this is a significant level for the smart money to step in. So as you can see on the 12 hour, and I like the 12 hour because it sum up the daily. So each two candles, I have more information. At the same time, it's a higher time frame. So notice how this 12-hour breaker block over here. Notice how significant this level was on a closing basis. So you see how much price respected this level, created a fair value gap, a previous breaker again, liquidity, breaker. So I expect buyers to step in again from this breaker block over here on the 12 hours. So this is really significant. I think there's a lot of smart money laying around this level. So we can view this as proper displacement to the upside, okay? And then retracing back into the breaker, and then I expect a continuation to the upside, targeting yesterday's high and those two relative equal highs. If there was a very obvious fair value gap over here, or like a buy side that wasn't taken yet, I would still be conservative in my entry. But the fact that we ran through this buy side, and there's really a lot of buy sides, like there's no one buy side, so I cannot take liquidity into consideration. And there's no fair value gap that wasn't mitigated. This one was already mitigated. So there's nothing that price reached into yet that will show me that okay, there's a reversal that can be occurring. Instead, there's still one target, which is yesterday's high, and this buy side over here, if this overall structure will play out on the major time frames. So also one thing worth mentioning, around this 12-hour breaker block, there is a 2-hour fair value gap. So as you can see over here, we have this last push to the upside, okay, leaving behind a 2-hour fair value gap just at the 12-hour breaker. So I'm really paying close attention starting from the 2-hour fair value gap until the 12-hour breaker block. So this area I'm going to be definitely focusing on for potential continuation to the upside. So this is my plan for the EU. Guys, I forget to mention in the beginning, and I have to since I'm sharing my opinions publicly, none of this is meant to be any of a financial advice, okay? You know that trading contains a lot of risk, and you should be responsible for any decision that you take by yourself. So these are just for educational reasons, educational reasons only, and definitely not a financial advice. So on GU, the structure is not as clear as on the EU, but those two pairs tend to move together. And for the GU, I see that when the market gapped lower, it took all of this sell side over here, all this daily liquidity, which was very important. And then after sweeping or testing or taking this sell side, price created a displacement on the 8-hour time frame. Okay, and it did not reach the buy side yet. So this buy side is not taken, which last week's high, Tuesday high. So last week's high was not taken. So last week's low was taken, make a proper displacement to the upside, and last weekly high wasn't taken. So there's really nothing to take into consideration at this level apart from this 8-hour breaker block over here, which if you go back in price, you see how important such levels were for price to rebalance or test and then go to the upside. And if I take just the Fibo level, including this as a displacement to the upside, I get around the 61 Fibo level. So I'm interested in the upper boundary of this 8-hour or breaker block as a continuation to yesterday's high, this buy side over here, last week's high, and then I'll be out waiting price action to confirm additional push to the upside. I think anything can happen, anything can change within today. Those markets are really crazy starting this year. Trump has a speech today, so I expect some volatility in the markets, so anything can happen really. So make sure you take proper confirmation for whatever structure you want to take. And yeah, don't forget to trade safe, and I see you in the next update. Thank you.